Welcome to Health IQ. I am kicking it with my partner, Gary T. What's up, Gary?
Good morning, Monson. How you doing? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Oh, man, I tell you, I love all the neighborhoods, and we all want to be in the neighborhood and alive in the neighborhood. So there's a celebration going on, and obviously we celebrate every day because you give everybody the T. Now, if you are woke, like thinking, have any idea, HIV has not gone away. We all have pain from HIV, from those who suffered it. Being woke and HIV, what do we think? This is a day we're supposed to celebrate gay men, HIV, AIDS, but at the end of the day, it's a painful day. What should we know about being woke as it relates to this virus, this disease?
You know, and when you ask that question, Monson, it kind of puzzles me. What should we know about being woke? I mean, my goodness, first of all, we know, honey, HIV is still here, but now I will say this though, I think, it's a good thing that, the medicines now are much better than it was back in the day because, back in the late 80s, I used to work on the AIDS team with visiting nurses when I was in school, going to school to be a nurse. And it was a real bad thing back then. And it was also kind of like a scary thing, especially, for gays, in particular like myself.
I don't think it was just scary for gays. It was scary for anybody having unprotected sex, period. Because partners don't always tell where they've been when they've been.
But with that being said, that's understood. But you do know society said it was mostly gays. So, honey, that's why I'm saying it was mostly a fearful thing for gays, honey. Heterosexual men and women, y'all, I mean, you may have thought about it, but you didn't think about it. You didn't think you could really get it. So my thing is, though, so I think, being the medicine much better. Back in the day, like I was saying, we used to be scared. I never forget when I got a red spot on my body, I was horrified because, at the time they had Kaposi sarcoma. And people were scared because we knew it was the red blotches and all over the body. And I used to see
lesions. Next you thought be a skin lesion. It was, and then you had the shrinking syndrome. People would be shrinking their faces, and then you would get
like they say, the gaunt faces, what happened, like you said, sunken faces and what have you. But I mean, it was a real scary thing back then, So I mean, but now some people, I'm sure there's a lot of people think that AIDS is over because you don't hear about it anymore. You don't hear people talking more about AIDS anymore like they're doing now with the COVID. So the COVID, basically everybody's afraid of that somewhat, but you don't really hear people talking that much about AIDS because with the new medicines now and people are living much longer, than they were back in the day. I've lost so many friends, honey, from HIV, AIDS until, it's a spooky thing. I'm just glad to still be here today.
We're all grateful that it's there, but now we know that women who are being infected, many older women who are still sexually active, are clearly having to be aware that they might be surprised to learn if they don't test first that they truly could be infected.
Yeah, they could be infected, but the spooky thing about it is, though, these older women or whatever, I guess in some instances, some people say it's a shortage of men. These older women getting these younger men, honey, and they don't realize that these younger men, honey, are doing them and then somebody else too, and everybody getting infected. And that's why, it's a sad thing that women should at least, just because he look a certain way and act a certain way, you gotta be careful.
So where would that mean in a relationship? Where would our let's get tested together, where would that fall in a dating for an older woman and a new lover? Where should that fall? Give her the tea.
That should fall, honey, right off the back, honey, especially in this day and time with COVID. If we asking one another, not, girl, you got your COVID test? Hey, you got your COVID test? You should still be asking about your HIV test too. But we know, especially in the African-American community, that question is not coming up because people are fearing that some women may be fearing that he may not stay around, or some women are fearing he may be insulted. And, it's just so much that falls upon there until nobody asking that question. And this is why it's still happening today, and especially with older women and women, period, not just older ones.
So when you think about the relationship between HIV in our community, the lack of conversation, what inhibits us from really being very vocal about something when we vocal about everything else?
Because then we don't want to feel that we're insulting the other person or whatever. We don't feel like, I don't want to ask him that question because he might not be around. That's what it is. I mean, that's obvious. You know damn well, Black people, we might ask all these other questions, but we're not gonna ask that because we really don't want to know. Because I'm not gonna ask this fine boy, oh, well, I can't ask this fine ass boy if he HIV positive, or if or if he's bisexual, because now with all these new sexes now, bisexual, trisexual, fluid, and all this other damn stuff that's going on. You're not about to ask that person that. That's just like asking a damn man, do you have a wife? That ain't happening. I was just gonna have sex with you because I want to do it, and that's that.
So is it responsible or irresponsible? Where do we, or can we change our behavior? Maybe that's a question. Is it possible? We're supposed to be having this discussion. It's a Monday, but for us, this should be an everyday kind of conversation.
Yeah, but it's definitely possible, honey. Yes, we could change our ways and stuff, but then we are sexual beings, honey. So, after you see something that you like or whatever, honey, you just want to go after it. You're gonna ask the question about your what is it? I'm looking
Status.
for your status. You're gonna ask that later. Honey, you're gonna, like they say, honey, ask for forgiveness later, do whatever you want to do, get punishment or however they say, go now and get forgiveness later. Well, we're gonna ask for forgiveness later. We're not going to sit here and insult this man or woman, honey, and ask her that, because it's just how we are as a race of people.
Right. Do people understand the advancements, not just the cocktails and other kind of medical advances that have been made, but do they understand PrEP? Is that something that people are really getting into? PrEP, do you think that plays a role? Do women and men and older men and women know about PrEP? Is PrEP a conversation that you hear on the tea when you're getting the tea? Is anybody talking about PrEP?
Hell no, people ain't talking about no doggone PrEP. I mean, they need to talk about PrEP, and that is one of the new medicines. But people are not talking about PrEP and all that stuff. Like I just told you, mother, people not even talking about AIDS anymore. Hell, I'm out there in the community, honey, with the children and stuff. Ain't nobody talking about no AIDS. They just, and it's a sad thing, but like I said, it's like AIDS is no longer in existence. Or now that people are living longer and there are better medicines, people not talking about it like they should. Yes, it should be still talked about, but it's not, because, well, not in the circles that I'm in or whatever. And then, I'm in the community and I don't hear people talking about it. So people just not doing it anymore. It's just.
So what's the role of the celebrity community? What is our role? Do we have a role when we think of Magic? Because that kind of took it very heterosexual at that moment. Like when we heard from Magic, we literally all said, "Oh, now Eazy-E." So now it really is in the entire community, both men that we never imagined had any other but heterosexual behavior, but now somehow they've gotten infected. Should celebrities be doing more or less, or is that their responsibility?
No, exactly. Honestly, it's not really a celebrity's responsibility. It's an individual responsibility. Now, if like you talked about Magic, when the last time you saw Magic speaking on AIDS, honey, and doing a commercial or doing some type of public service announcement? I haven't seen him do nothing in a while. So my thing is, honey, we know Magic has it. We know whatever happened with him and stuff. And honey, he was too busy trying to get it to fade it to black because the stigma of it. Nobody want to deal with the stigma. Nobody want to deal with that. And you still got to know, honey, we are still living in a society where we as Africans in America, we still have the tendency of, shunning people. And it's like a humiliation. And so we don't know how to just be nice and kind to one another and stuff. Honey, we make it out of a big, it's just not a good thing. We don't make it a compassionate thing. We make it a thing like it's a bad thing. And honey, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to hell. You're going to die. You faggot or this, that, and the other. And that's it. Celebrities ain't talking about it.
So what are we missing? Like the lack of discussion continues the infection, the lack of discussion. Why would you say something derogatory and call somebody out of their name like that when none of us want? We're working that our children and the next generation truly removes whatever my uncle or ignorant me would have said. We're really working to heal, But we can't heal if we don't accept. If I don't understand that my brother Gary is gay and I love him, I'm still going to go out with him. I'm still going to go to a party with him. I don't care what you think about that, because that's my brother.
Yeah, but the sad thing about it is, though, Munson, that's how you were raised. You were raised, honey, to treat everybody the same. We're not living in that society, honey, where people treat everybody the same, honey, and just because of a person's sexual preference or what have you, that, you know, you can still love them and be friends with them. We're not like that. We still running, honey, hiding. I can't be seen with you because I don't want nobody to see me with you because they think, honey, they're going to think I'm gay or this, that, and the other stuff. It's the same damn way hell with Corona. People still, honey, some people still shun you, honey, about Corona. If you got Corona, oh, girl, she had Corona, honey. Oh, you know, people still do that. That's just the way of the world, honey. Everybody's not like that. I mean, the sad thing about it, everybody not like you and everybody's not like me. I don't care what nobody does. And my thing is, honey, if you're a whore, damn it, you're a whore. You're still my friend. I have nothing to do with you whoring. But people are not like that. We are not living like that yet. It's a how they say it, it's a generational thing. It just trickles down, honey, and stuff. And will it ever change? I don't think so. I mean, you know, to look at these young celebrities today, they're much different from when the celebrities back in the day were, honey, and stuff like that. You like the Lil Nas and all these people, honey, coming out in dresses and all this other stuff like that. People accept them on the surface, but they really don't accept it. Just like I tell people all the time about when you're in Rome, they say do like the Romans do. It's just like me and my job. I have my job. I work with 3 prominent radio personality men and stuff, but I still know my place. I know that, honey, people still like their gayness in doses. Don't give me too much at one time. Just give me a little. Can't give me too much, because then I'm impeding upon your sexual preference and upon your character. So no, so it's just not going to change.
So the stigma of HIV, as a community, we need to erase the idea and understand that truly people should be able to be honest about their status and embrace it. What would you call that process? If we were, who should start it? Should the church be embracing this? Is this something that the church can do to begin to talk about the presence and reducing and loving our brother and sister, no matter what their HIV status is?
Yeah, that would be nice, but Munson, some churches do that. My church does that, but it doesn't matter. It's people. Until you be able to change people's mindset, honey, it's not going to change. Because the church could do it, because, you know, the church is a building, and the church my church recognizes it and does stuff, you know, for people with AIDS and all this other stuff. But you know, and the people in the church are the ones that, where the problem come in. Now they can sit there and say, "Oh yes, amen, pastor, yes, Lord," and get out the damn church and talk about you like a dog and tell everybody that you just confessed in church that you are HIV positive and stuff. Now the damn world knows. It's just like me shopping here at the Goodwill. Somebody see me at the Goodwill. Girl, we saw Gary at the Goodwill. I'm going to the Goodwill because that's where I want to go and be. But everybody puts it all out there and make it like it's a damn cardinal sin, and that's how it is. That's why people still today can't be who they want to be and tell people, you know, their status, which I have some friends I noticed that, you know, tell their status and stuff. And it also depends on, you know, what you're doing, what kind of work you're doing, and, you know, and in situations like that, because, honey, it's just people are not going to let you live, period. They're not.
So on this day, when we think about the pain and someone says you've lost someone to AIDS, it's a hurtful feeling, and we miss those people. What do you think those people would say to us if they could actually communicate how they want us to be? If people could hear their loved ones, if people could hear an Eazy-E really say exactly how we should be treating ourselves and our community and what we should be doing for this disease, what do you think an Eazy-E would say?
I don't know. I mean, I would just think that, you know, I mean, maybe Eazy would probably say, you know, if people, you know, accepted him, if first of all, he had to share what he was doing with the people, number one. So it's obvious that, well, I don't know how he got it or what have you. So, but I'll just talk about some of my friends. If some of my friends were here today, honey, you know, they probably would say that, you know, they wish they would have done things differently. You know, even though, like they say, you shouldn't have any regrets. So I wouldn't want them to have any regrets and stuff, but I know they would probably think that, you know, if they've done things differently, the outcome when it came up to death, which, I think about my friends all the time, and how this happened and what have you and stuff. But I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could even think.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So if someone has, and obviously we know that this is that moment where we're talking about it, and it's the day of gay men and HIV and AIDS. And so when they say gay men, I'm saying all men, because at the end of the day, when you don't acknowledge your brother, you're discounting you. And for me, you're my brother. So at the end of the day, we're probably talking about regrets that people would have because when they found themselves able to love, they were risky. They would have, what would they be doing different? That they might need to be conscious, and some young or older person might want to change their behavior so that we don't have the level of HIV infections going up and we can reduce the stigma. What would you say?
I'm trying to figure what you're saying again. I'm listening, but my mind is just.
Yeah, in terms of the direct question is, what type behaviors need to be changed that the individuals that we've lost, would probably share with us if they could?
Yeah, but I mean, Monster, the thing is, I mean, what type of behaviors? Of course, promiscuous, behaviors. But the thing is, Monster, I mean, the sad thing about it is, everybody that's human have sex, and
But see, the part is, and I just wanted to get, I'm glad you mentioned that, but I don't want my community to not know that there are individuals who are starving, who've been put out of their homes because of their sexual preference, have been ostracized, and literally didn't get the skill set, didn't get the education, and the only thing that they believe in their heart that they have left is their body, and somebody profited off their body when they made a trade and they didn't protect themselves. So lots of reasons other than promiscuous that literally lead people to be in positions where they may not have options. I don't want to say the society is actually cast a safety net, and that's why we're talking, that there's this safety net for individuals who may have been ostracized in their own home and
yeah, well,
found themselves.
a lot of gay guys, honey, and women in particular, they are ostracized by their parents because you got to remember, honey, back in the day, the parents, honey, everything was the Bible and the church and stuff, and homosexuality, honey, was just definitely the cardinal sin. Homosexuality is the only sin there is. It's not a sin of looking at, of lust sin, honey, of gluttony, none of those are sins, but homosexuality. And that's just the way it was. I mean, and that's just the sad thing about it. These people, the kids get thrown out. I look at a lot of kids today, and I often wonder why these people are so promiscuous, or why they just so, lack of a better word, just wild and out there, because their parents didn't accept them. So they just went out and did what they thought was best for them. So, like they say, when you hurt, you hurt. And this is what you do, and when we got nothing else to do, we turn to sex or drugs.
Right. And so that leads to many people in our community, and the stigma isn't gay. They actually were addicted to some injectable drug like heroin or Dilaudid or something, and literally ultimately got HIV through dirty needles and exchanging needles. Why is that not thought of? And why, once again, don't we have the love for our brothers and sisters who suffer from addiction, end up with another disease, and on top of the disease of addiction, like HIV? Are we not thinking about them? They weren't promiscuous, they were just addicted and suffered from the disease of addiction. Why shouldn't we remove that stigma and not just say, oh, it's only people? Because there are clearly HIV intravenous drug users that end up with HIV or AIDS.
Yeah, because that's just how we are as people. People just don't care. And people just feel that, like say, like the drug addict and stuff, oh, he on drugs, he's on this and other. We don't care. We are compassionate when we want to be compassionate toward one another. And that's a rarity. And my thing is, I'll tell people all the time, I'll be driving down the street and I'll look at some of the homeless people and what have you on the street, whatever. And I said, once upon a time, that was somebody's pretty baby. That was somebody's pretty baby once. And now they're out here on the streets or what have you. but that's just the way we are in a society. We just don't care. And like they say, as long as it's not in my house, I don't care. And
So when you think about the day that we're working on now, the internet, the advancements that we've made with HIV as a community, how can we atone, Gary, or how can you and I share our message and our acceptance? If you were giving a speech at one of the HBCUs, Prairie View, FAM, Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Howard, and you were going to give them a speech about, the role and the fact that HIV is present, available to all, because and AIDS is a whole disease waiting for someone. You've got to acquire it. It's an acquired immune disease. So what are we saying? What would your speech be to them about knowing that they're going into their professional adult life outside of college? What would your speech be to them?
Well, that's a good question, which is a long one. But my speech would most likely be, I would roll back the tape, honey, and start back from when initially I started working with HIV/AIDS, to all my friends that I've lost along the way, and let them know that that HIV is really real, just like all these other diseases. It's really real and stuff. And and my thing would be, I would really try my best, Mom, to suggest, honey, that we practice safe sex. I would try my best. But like I said earlier, I think when a person get into the groove of having sex, honey, after you have it the first time, it's hard to some people to practice safe sex. It's hard to present a condom or what they call it for women, a dam or whatever they call them. It's hard to present, all that. And I'm saying it's hard, but lack of a better word, that to present all this stuff, because first of all, because then some people, honey, when you start presenting these things to them after you've already been engaged in sex, honey, they want to know where you've been, because people get offended, about using a condom or whatever after we haven't initially started that way. And I would just let people know that definitely HIV/AIDS is still real, honey, and you still definitely need to practice safe sex or what have you. If not, honey, don't have sex at all. I mean, there's other ways to be intimate than to be having sex and being penetrated without a condom.
So for those who are watching, that would be Gary's speech. I'd probably hang out. You tell them that it's safe and versus sorry. I think that's a reality that we're all working through. But Gary, you've been a beautiful brother in just moving through this world. We found ourselves ostracized. Mental health plays a role in all of this, like how healthy you are mentally. What have you gained as you've grieved? How do you learn how to grieve? And how have you kept yourself mentally tight, given the fact that you have lost individuals? How did you manage through that pain?
You know what? I mean, first of all, I have a therapist that I go to, first of all. So going to my therapist, because I have no problem with going to a therapist/psychiatrist and talking it over with him. And I just, I don't know. It's just, like I said, I've seen so much, until it's almost like I'm immune to it or whatever. I don't want to seem that way, but it's just, I don't think about a lot of things. I just let stuff go. I think about it, but I don't keep it on. I just let it
Are you
roll off.
talking about PJ Morton's song?
Huh?
Let go and let God, let go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things I do too. So I just I don't let a lot of that stuff just, overbear me. I can't let it, get to me.
So is that part of the healing process, that getting professional help? Is that what you would suggest to those who might be suffering and are depressed, or just found out that they are positive, that they join a group or something like that so that they could actually get some healing help?
Yes, go to a therapist, and just because you're going to a therapist does not make you crazy. That was the way that we always thought as our race. It does not make you crazy, honey. Just letting you get some damn help where you'll be walking around here like the rest of these people about to do something crazy or what have you. But I definitely, honey, love that. And I go shopping. I walk the mall. I clear my head. I drive. I do a 10-hour drive from Georgia to Texas, honey. I just clear my head, play my music, cry, and talk on the phone. And I'm good once I get to my destination. So I'm not gonna sit here and just crack up like some people do. No way.
So when you're crying, Gary, do you tears of joy? You letting it go?
Yeah.
Are you talking to God when you're doing this? And do you feel relieved once you've cried?
Yep. Once I think about my daddy, my daddy died, and I think about him, and I think about my friends, honey, that died, and I think good thoughts and stuff. It's just a good. I play good music. I play Whitney Houston and Patti LaBelle and Diana Ross. I play all those artists, and I just get it all out. And once I get it out, I am good to go. I love Stephanie Mills' song "Home," honey. But I think of home, when she think of a place. Which, and one of the parts in the song, she said, when she could hear her friends telling her, Stephanie, sing my song. So I could hear my friends telling me, Gary, carry on, sing our song. So it's a good cry. And then I am good to go. And I love doing, that's why I love driving home. Because I have to get it out, honey. I got to get that good cry out. And once I get home, I'm good.
Well, I'm sure that your friends appreciate that because our loved ones always, we all hope one day maybe not to be an ancestor, but we will. And recognizing the ones that we love and the fact that we got happy memories is really, truly a beautiful thing. And many individuals give us gifts,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny too, like one of my friends, I'll be like, oh, let me call him. I'm like, hell, I forgot he's dead. It's amazing how that feeling to come to you. You'll be thinking about calling somebody and you realize, oh, he's not here anymore. So, but it's just, life goes on. It's a good thing, honey, and I just think about it. I'm like, I still sometimes wonder, like, why am I still here? But I'm here for a purpose. I know, and, still, carrying on for my friends.
I'm carrying out to my friends, baby. On the dance floor, show you how we do.
Oh, hush. But life is amazing, man.
No, I tell you, I'm gonna make me some house music or some of that. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it, Gary. I'm definitely gonna do it.
Oh, well, bless your spirit, Monson.
Yeah, I think, can you feel it, baby? Yeah.
Feel it, honey.
On the dance floor.
I had to eat some damn chicken, honey. I could feel that. You could have took me out to eat.
Yeah, funny you should mention, I don't eat chicken. Yeah. I appreciate that, Gary. You're so funny. But man, I love you. And
I love you too, Moonson.
Yeah, I'm actually moving around, man. I'm actually moving around, so I'm able to. Yeah, I'm still masked up, but
Oh yeah,
vaxxed up. So we got to catch up. And for all those out there who are watching, know that we love you. Help remove the stigma. We're gonna keep hope alive over here.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it alive.
We want you to.
Do you think the stigma is going to ever be removed, though?
I do. I think the question for humans is acceptance. And I think we're pushing more toward acceptance of people being who they are. I think it makes a generation of people uncomfortable because it's not what their life has been. And everybody lives in their generation. And I think that, many of us need to, for me, it's give what you didn't get. If you wanted something from your dad or from a brother that you didn't get, then give it to the next younger brother so he can't say and make an excuse. And we can remove excuses by removing barriers of love, removing barriers of, judgment. Because if we remove those things, so I think we're getting there. It's actually more song. I don't know that culturally we've actually wanted to address it from a cultural perspective. I think we've got to be careful not to have other lenses tell us what gay Black looks like. And that's a competitive thing. When many of the media outlets aren't owned by Black people, the lens of what a gay man looks like is often distorted for some of us, and it'll make a brother uncomfortable. Others brothers see it and say, well, maybe that's funny, But at the end of the day, I want a brother to live in his truth, and be who he can be and have fun being who he is. And for all of us to see ourselves as brothers and, reach for each other. Because I think the more we demonstrate it, the more we can come closer to demonstrating that, okay, we're still here and now we saved a life. And to me, it's all about, let's save a life, save each other, and at least put it out there so that we can, be better and not use words that will hurt somebody. Because I know that's not fair. So, I want to grow every day, and that's where I'm at with it today.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. You ought to win an Oscar for that speech.
Well, I'm not quite an actor, Gary. I'm not on This Nation. I'm not a celebrity. I just have celebrity friends like you, who come when we call it rolling out and say, hey, Gary, we need something to help our nonprofit, Steed Society, and some of the other nonprofits carry a message of hope and reduce stigma on HIV and talk about cultural things and at least challenge people to not judge someone who has a HIV or chooses to be gay, and they're born that way. Let's accept that.
But that's something y'all not accepting yet. And I mean, some people are born, and then some people, I don't know, maybe they tapped into it later on in life and realized it was, you have to live a certain life, honey, in certain communities, because nobody wouldn't have it. But I just thank God my parents accepted me when the psychiatrist told them, honey, my daddy said, I have 7 sons. I don't care for the lifestyle, but I love Gary just like the rest of them. And I was able to soar. So I was able to, be me. And that's how Gary with the T was created.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us some tea today. Love that couch.
Oh, you
love
like
that
it?
couch. I love that couch.
Little patent leather thing, honey.
No, I like that. That's hot, man.
Yeah,
That's hot.
thank you.
You get tired of it, you let me know. I'll come pick it up.
Okay. When I bought them, they had them in gold. So I'm like, who's going to do a gold couch? But yeah, I've been having it now 11 years. That's how long I've been here.
That's what it is when you have a classic piece. See, black is a classic.
Yep, two questions. Yep. So, and that's what you're saying. And that's what you're saying. You're classic too, and you're black.
Yeah, we are the classic color, the classic human color.
All right. Well, all right. Well, Monster, I guess now I don't feel like getting dressed how to go to this event. God.
I think you've got to go to the event, and you've been on HealthIQ hanging out with your brother Munson Steed, and I do want to tell you I love you again so that you can
love
hear
you too, Munson.
When this is up, you can play it again, and you can say that dude said it, and you ain't got to wonder because he said it in a minute.
Okay. All right, Munson, you have a great day and a better tomorrow.
All right, love you, man.